Notice convening the meeting.
The regular monthly meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation is being held in the corporation's chamber, 4th floor, 19A Union Street, Montego Bay, on Thursday, July 13, 2023, commencing at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Councillors, heads of department, persons sitting in the gallery, media personnel, ladies and gentlemen, all. It is my pleasure today to welcome you to another of our council meeting. And I must say, I am happy to see actually all of my councillors are here. And so we are looking forward to having a very productive meeting. So without further ado, let me ask if there are apologies. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Yes, okay. All right, so confirmation, can I have a motion for the confirmation of the minutes?
So, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. So we go straight into matters arising from the minutes. H5, cleaning of South Gully. You may also take the clean of the North Gully. Acting Superintendent.
Morning again, Your Worship. Through you,
Morning.
Chairman. The South Gully, I've done a visual inspection of the area, a physical inspection, and it is good. Is in good working order. It was cleaned recently. The North Gully does have some deposited materials. Within the downtown sections, and we will engage mechanical equipment to have those areas cleared in short order. And as stated, we will continue to monitor the areas and have them cleared or maintained.
Okay, thank you. R55, roads within the parish. You may take all those en bloc. Acting Super.
So you, Mr. Chairman, within the period stated, we have undertaken several rehabilitation in several areas, to include Godfrey Dyer Boulevard, Jimmy Cliff Boulevard, sections of St. James Street, Market Street, Creek Street, Umber Avenue, Cottage Road, Thompson Street, Dudley Cassin, and Lawrence Lane.
The black tag program.
The letter was sent off to the ministry and we await a response.
Thank you. Requests for funds from the Equalization Fund.
No fund. We have not received any funds, Your Worship.
We move right on. Local Sustainable Development Plan.
Your Worship, we had said before that we would be sending off letters to the Ministry of Finance for the employment of the personnel required for the local sustainable development plan, and we have done so. So we are now awaiting a response from the Ministry of Finance so we can start the process.
Okay, very well. Report from Alga J. Any update?
The report has been circulated, Your Worship.
Councillors, any questions as far as Alga J is concerned? Local government reform update.
None, Your Worship.
Buildings within the city of Montego Bay that are public nuisances.
To you, Mr. Chairman. Items 1 and 2, which is the old Bassett Building and 36 Barnett View, remain the same. As it relates to 20A Barracks Road, NWA in brackets, we have had discussions with NWA and they have given us information that they have returned the parcel of land or the property to the National Land Agency, and we will be having discussions with the National Land Agency to see if we can abate that notice quickly.
Yes, we are moving quickly along, very quickly. Report from agencies. Can I have the solid waste report?
Good morning, Chairman, councillors, other agencies, media. So for the month of June, the WPM Waste Management, we continued with our sweeping and collection of waste within the parish. Some of the challenges that existed were for the start of the period. We had very rainy weather conditions. This posed some delay. Also, the unavailability of supplementary units. Road conditions, disposal practices, and also low-hanging wires kind of also presented some challenge. We had put in place remedial action, and this was executed between the 1st to the 3rd of June through the conducting of getting additional help from outside of the region. This assisted us in clearing about 70% of the backlog that was plaguing the parish. There are about 67 districts over the period in backlog at different times. And we had utilized an average of 7 government-owned and 3 supplementary units throughout the period. Now, as it relates to enforcement, we served about 4 removal notices and issued litter tickets. However, we had assistance also from National Enforcement, which ran 2 operations, one along Barnett Street and one along St. James Street, had to do with compliance of business operators and their waste management contracts and so on. So this, we are awaiting the reports from these. For the Barretown area, in close proximity to the health center, there's a skip that is actually needed to be replaced. There's a skip holding area. So we're seeking some assistance with that. Also, we did a total of about 19 tipper loads of bulky waste removed from Norwood, Paradise, Gutters, Catherine Hall, White House, Tucker, Gutters, Mount Salem, and King Street. Also removed about 10 derelict vehicles as well across the parish. Our beautification project that we did in the Sun Valley Road, the communal dumping area, this still remains in good condition, and we give credit to the community members for assisting to maintain that area in its condition. Also, the Dudley Cassin area, which we had removed the skip, this, from time to time, we see a few bags there. However, it's still in relatively good condition. Now, on June 8th, which was World Oceans Day, we conducted one of our initiatives, which was an underwater beach cleanup at Dead End Beach. And we also did an on-land beach cleanup at Fisherman's Beach. Now, for Fisherman's Beach, we collected a total of 1,175 pounds of garbage there. And also for the underwater cleanup, we collected about 244 pounds of waste at that time. What this underwater cleanup, what it brought to us was, we have some images which we actually have shared in the report. We're seeing things like engine blocks, car parts, and so on in the ocean, which we figure more or less that it's either illegally dumped or washed down through the gullies. So we'll be doing some special sensitization as it relates to dumping in gullies coming shortly. Now, as it relates to partnership, we commend and congratulate the municipal authority, corporation, sorry, on initiating a series of community meetings, because it has allowed us to also reach out to the communities, also educate them on proper waste disposal practices, and also see how, from community relations and so on, how waste management is conducted in some of the communities. We also will use this opportunity going further to encourage plastic separation as well as composting as practices to reduce the waste. The Charles Garden Market as well, we still face a challenge on a Sunday. We have gotten some assistance through the corporation as well as the police. However, it's still taking a while just to clean the area because the vendors take a while in moving. As it relates to the retirement disposal side, we continue with the pushing and spreading. We did a covering activity at the disposal site. There is another to be started soon. So we're doing different sections based on how the budget allows. We'll also be stockpiling material in anticipation of the dry periods. So if there's any emergencies, we can deal with them quickly. On another note as well, I also brought with me Mr. Edward Muir. So he's the Regional Operations Manager for SPM, Waste Management, which takes in, I think it's Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Elizabeth. Now, the authority, NSWMA, has initiated what it calls a rotation of regional managers. So come the 8th of August, I will be in Kingston on a 3-month rotation, and Mr. Muir has started with me, just a transition period, and he'll be here for a little while. So I know I've gotten a lot of support, cussing sometimes, which I deserved, but appreciated, and thank you for your time that I spent here. Should be coming back, but I also wanted to extend the same support to Mr. Muir as well.
Yes,
Right?
sure.
So, thank you.
Yes, welcome, sir. Okay, councillors, yes.
Also, Your Worship, after questions, I'm just asking for us to be excused because as we have a meeting in Clarkstown
I'm sure.
later on today.
Okay, councillors, questions for National Solid Waste Management Authority. Mr. Jones, we are fast approaching the festive season. August is just around the corner, and I notice here that you had problems with supplementary units. How you probably need to deal with that matter. Yes, I just want to know how you're going to cope there.
Okay. So, Your Worship, we have noted in terms of the supplementary units that have been going down, one of the reasons for this is that most of the trucks that the contractors would have, they're older trucks. And I don't want to put the blame squarely on them as well, because I know based on how our budget is, we also have delays in payments. So these issues tend to cause them to have downtime. What we've done, we've asked for permission to seek outside contractors as well. So we're looking in the other regions as well for persons who may have additional units, which can come to us to help to offset our challenge. I should also say that procurement is far underway for additional units that would be a part of the other 50 that we're supposed to get. So that is underway. So there are management protocols being put in place to ensure that we can keep the place clean.
Okay, good, very good. And, yes, go ahead, Councillor Crawford.
Chairman, something just came to me. Morning, everyone. the team that goes around at nights and does the cleaning downtown, I understand that the compactors cannot manage some of the material that's being left on the sides of the roads at night. I'm going to suggest that in your regular cleaning, you try to employ the services of another unit. So all the stones and pallets and boards and all those things don't get left behind. It would be useful if that was a part of your cleaning cycle nightly.
All right. Thank you for that, sir. I should also say, though, that with what we clean, the drivers as well as the inspector normally identifies bulk waste or those items that cannot go into the compactor. So at least once or twice a week, we try to go around with our tipper, company tipper, and to collect those as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
good morning. I apologize for my tardiness. You know, it's with a heavy heart that I hear that Mr. Jones is going to transition. Rotate. Because, you know, Chairman, he's a Monroonian, you know.
Yeah.
And he went to a city that was set up on a hill that could not be hidden. That's our school motto. I'm very fluid, you know, Mr. Chairman. I'm a Cornwallian and I'm a Monroonian, so I can bounce either side I feel like to bounce when I choose to. But, Mr. Jones, it will be remiss of me if I did not commend your stewardship of the organization that you are championing. And I am sure that I echo the same sentiment, the same collective ethos of all my councillors here. So Mike, you never get rid of rat them. You never help with the rat them. Your stewardship of the WPM, you made a difference. There was a tangible difference when you were there. From the top down to the bottom here, when every councillor called on you, you answered. I have called on you many a times. I remember one night we drove to a place named Little Miami. Remember that? And we couldn't find it. Yeah, you did a very good job. And I'm going to miss you, but I'm going to hope to see you back here very soon. Job well done, sir. And I know wherever you go, you're going to shine the light from the city that was set upon the hill. Good job, sir.
All right. Thank you, Councillor. I don't know what your mentor would want to say.
You want to have no comment?
Okay. Mr. Jones, I have been receiving complaint that the skip at Barnett Oval has been removed. Is it a case that it will be replaced? That's Barnett Oval.
All right. So the Barnett Oval and Dudley Cassin skips were removed around about the same time. Now, based on our investigation, what we realized is that there's a lot of commercial waste that was going to these areas. Because when you do find someone from a community, it is areas that would be collected, but they just have excess waste at their house. So for instance, even in Dudley Cassin, we found someone one Sunday morning was coming from West Village, and that area was collected the day before. However, they had missed, they didn't get to put out some of their garbage, even though it's a scheduled collection day. So we removed it. We are monitoring the situation. If it is that we see any amount of resurgence in illegal dumping and so on, we may have to replace it, but for now we're monitoring the situation.
Okay, thank you. Any other question for Mr. Jones? If not, Mr. Jones, let me thank you, sir. You have been doing a good job since you have been here. So I'm sure your successor, our temporary successor, will continue to do a good job. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. You may leave. Yes. Yes. I'll now take the report from the police. I'm sure I've seen someone like Senior Sue. Oh, yes, he's here.
His worship. His worship.
Yes, Senior Sue.
Sir, I made a covert entry, ably supported by my friend, Senator Sinclair and Mr. Tinglin. They worked out something for me to get inside here smooth. Yes, they knew I was coming. So let me say morning to you, His Worship, councillors, stakeholders, and the media present. We are at a point where St. James, this is a time of year that we look at the policing around the Sumfest, the festival that has a lot of activities with it. We know it's a week-long event. We're prepared for it. The external resources that are needed from the divisional, that are not within the division, will come from elsewhere to make this work for St. James. In terms of the operational posture of the division, St. James, we're not doing bad in terms of the output. I want to say, thanks to all your councillors as well, to Mr. Chairman. They've played a significant role in keeping their respective spaces safer. The type of cooperation that comes from your respective councillors is aiding in making St. James a safer place. So over the past period since we last reported, we've had significant seizures of weapons. Even this morning, there's a major operation on the ground where significant weapons have been seized. We're tidying that part up now to be able to give you better feedback. I know Mr. Sinclair wants to know that it is not in his place. You see, yes, and yes, as he says, Flankers is quiet and well behaved for now. And we're keeping it like that. And so we're up in that green pond space there. And yesterday, one of the persons who created a little buzz for us in law enforcement, making the place unsafe, he would have departed, was dispatched.
Where is that?
It's in the Mount Salem space, to be exact. What's happening, though, it's clear, even in this morning's operation, where we recover high numbers of weapons, and if there is no challenge of the security forces, persons are arrested and they are taken to face the court. But if you challenge the security forces, it is always clear that the result will be as what has taken place with those 5 over the short period. We are at a point, see the grid blocks being painted back in, and we are seeing for the period where school is out, we're going to try our best to, from the traffic enforcement side, to orient our citizens to not block these intersections. It's a lot of monies that we've been paying these, and it seems as if it's not significant to them. They just go inside there and block it. The shortage of resources when school is in prevents us from teaching persons in an enforcement way. So like our school is out now, we're going to embark on that. Aspects of the public order, we have rejuvenated it. You see, additional police officers have been deployed to us, and we're working on it. The township itself, we're getting cooperation and compliance from the citizens there. And I must say, across the parish, Mr. Mayor, the citizens are complying with the security forces. We're getting good partnership response in all the areas, be it remote areas closer to the township, traditional hotspots that we didn't have these relationships before. We're seeing stronger relationships with the community, right, Mr. Troop? Granville, yes. And appreciate the relationship with the communities. And yes, if Mr. Troop was there when we did the tour for the building of that new station and all that will come with it, the features of it that will support the community-based policing as well. They've made requests for amenities to facilitate the community, and it was granted. And the persons from our planning department and the strategic level of the force came out from Kingston to tidy this part up. Those in the far rural side to Amity Hall, you will also be getting some support as well. That's pretty much my presentation to you on the issues. I know a lot of questions might come that will, cover issues that were not presented. I think the push that I'm seeing, even from your councillors in wanting to, you see, Mr. Sinclair doesn't want his place to be called in the name of one of the troubled areas, and that's good. We're seeing the citizens wanting the same thing. The Granville space that was traditionally one of those hotspots, we're seeing where Granville is off the map,
Completely off the map.
Yes, yes. And all the areas, Sir Graham, your space, and Councillor Murray, in his strong comment that Lilliput is not a place that will tolerate. We saw external criminals coming inside there and operations going at them and taking them out as well. So let's continue the partnership as we grow stronger together. All right, thank you, Mr.
Yes, thank you very much, Senior Superintendent. Questions, please?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Mr. Mayor, I must comment, because I cuss you all the way, Worse if you don't come and say I cuss you. But I want to thank you, sir, for keeping Granville, the space of Granville, safe for the last 18 months. Look at me, everyone's applause, man. We're working on. Sure. But, Your Worship, the problem I'm having is while the councillor, yours truly, is trying to make Granville the safest place on earth, we are still being punished because we can't have anything up there based on what tankers and all the rest of the division is having. Granville division is still being punished. So I want you to rectify that section of it, sir. As related to the police station, I am pleased to announce that my cry has been heard, and in short order, we're getting a brand new police station. It's a 50-man station, sir. 50-man station with all the amenities that a community need to keep it safe. Can you repeat that? With all the amenities that Granville need, or any community. That's right. Time come. Mr.
Yes, I'm hearing you,
Yes,
Councillor.
Your Worship. Senior, I have a problem. And I don't think the problem germinate from persons within the St. James and airport, but persons who came in. You might ask for some reinforcement, and when they come into the space of St. James, they think that, to me, sir, it's a different mission from what they came to do. 2 weeks ago, I was going up to look for my mother. And when I reached Irwin Senior, they stopped me. I see a car coming, a vehicle coming from me, and 4 guns come out from me one time. When the gentleman came up, they did not ask me for my papers and things. They asked me what work I did. That's the first question they asked, what work I do. So I told him that I was a farmer. He said, but farmer can't drive the carrier. A Crown, you know my Crown, man. He was more interested, Senior, in the car I drive and the work I am doing, because I told him I'm a farmer. Until now, Senior, he don't ask me my papers them. Nothing. So somebody else, when somebody pass and say, well, I'm to your counselor. And at the same time, you can see disappointment in his face because that's a scammer. No, you can't see the disappointment in the man's face because he did not, up to now, Senior, and don't ask me for papers in the car. So we ask so much question before you get to that point. Oh, I see. I understand. But, Senior, let me tell you, some of the men that is coming to assist you are not interested in fighting crime. They're interested in going after the type of car you drive. Well, but sir, when I hear the news this morning, Senior, I want to commend you. Because the more weapons we take off the street, the safer the space of St. James will be. And 2 months ago, I said to my colleague councillors, right in this chamber here, if you allow me, Mayor, if we don't assist the police in fighting the monster crime, they will spring up on us again. So, Mayor, for this summer, in the Granville Division, we're going to have 4 sponsored by me, and I'm going to ask them for some help. Sponsored 4 summer class. Sponsored by the counselor, and I'm targeting the young men between the age of 14 to 17. 4 weeks each areas. And we're going to ask you one day, sir, to send your officers there to give me a little prep talk. So I'll be busy summer all over Granville Division with summer school, targeting the young men and young women. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Troop. Councillors, any more questions? You have 4.
That was good, Troop. That's
David,
not bad.
on the floor again. All right.
You know, Your Worship, Councillor Troop said I must acknowledge the summer school program, which is a great initiative. So I'm publicly acknowledging Granville Summer School program. Senior Soup, I must commend you and your team and the work that you've been doing in Montego Bay. In my private moments, I play a game on my PlayStation called Call of Duty. The guns that I saw that were confiscated today are reminiscent of guns that are on my PlayStation. Senior Soup, a question to you. With that level of ordnance that these miscreants have, you are outgunned. No? Well, thank God. When I'm asking him, Soup, what type of weaponry was that? Because when I looked on those assault rifles, I could not decipher what caliber weapon you guys were able to take off the street today. They were, from my layman point of view, they were heavily modified, heavily armed, heavily rigged, And I mean, we must look on what our constabulary forces have to go up against and what can be meted out against them. Because the caliber of weaponry that these...
Don't make it too long, Councillor. Don't
I
make
know,
it too
but
long.
I have to choose my words carefully because
Yeah.
I can't manage any more problem in my life right now. So these young miscreants have. I am just happy that we have a good national security minister and a good prime minister that has invested heavily in the Jamaican Constabulary Force and that has given them the resources to combat this level of crime. Because if you guys really look on what we are taking off of the streets and what we are taking off of the road, it is not an easy task. Crime, major crime is down by 15% last time I checked, and that was last night. Am I correct? Okay, good. And the current trajectory shows that it will go down even further. So as a body, as Councillor Troop clearly stated earlier, we must give support to the Jamaican Constabulary Force. Because without a public-public partnership, for want of a new term, there can be no cohesion in terms of crime fighting. And I just want to say one more time that I congratulate our Senior Superintendent Ellis and Superintendent Samuels. He's not here now, but still I'll big him up same way. And all the members of the Jamaican Constabulary Force for their unyielding, unrelenting, unnerving, unending wage of war against the monster of crime. Thank you very much, sir. Your service is very welcome.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor. Yes, Councillor Crawford.
Mr. Chairman, I would also like to commend the government, the commissioner, the superintendent of police, and this is against the background that 2 meetings ago, the councillor for the Granville Division was here bawling out for help. He was under, I think he referred to himself as being under attack or something like that. So to sit here today and hear the same councillor 2 months later saying that his division is now off the radar, I think that deserves a round of applause, gentlemen. I think it does. So, Superintendent, congratulations to you and your team, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, all right, thank you very much.
So in responding to
Yes.
the question of the weaponry, and I took the questions of Councillor Troop as well, and we do a lot of risk assessment in determining how we do these public events and what we do to keep these areas safe. So we'll continue to do that, and we'll partnership as best as possible with the persons. I'll say to Councillor Brown that even if you put a rocket launcher in the hands of a fool, he's still a fool, right? You can never match the competencies of a fool with that of a highly trained security force. So, you know, pretty much the mental security, you should start with that. You have a force that is capable. If it is that we face weaponry of this type that you're mentioning, we're able to deal with it. The force is equipped. We have vehicles that are properly equipped. We have different ballistic shields, and the teams are well trained. You know, this is a drill that we carry out, just as how other professional bodies practice, prepare, conduct surgeries, and do whatever their specific field does. The security force has drills that we carry out. We prepare for these things, and that is why when there is a firefight, we normally outmaneuver these guys that easily because of the training. So rest assured, even if you see weapons of superior caliber or whatever it is, the appearance, you have a skilled force that will take it to them and deal with it. All right?
Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Senior Sue. And I must say that you and your team, you're doing a good job, and you have our support 100%. I just want to make the point though, that, every second Thursday in the month is the most important day in the operation of the St. James Municipal Corporation, because what it does is that it gives us an opportunity, through the media, of course, to disseminate information, not only to persons in Montego Bay, but the wider parish of St. James. So they will know exactly what we are doing as a municipal corporation. Yes.
Superintendent. And not focusing on where the other persons would have gone this morning. But where you started, you made mention of an entertainment event. Now, over the years, there has been interaction between the municipal corporation and the JCF in relation to social activities that persons seek to have across the parish. And under the existing regulations, there is one that is referred to as the place of amusement regulation, which falls under the mandate of the municipal corporation, but while it falls under the mandate of the municipal corporation, we have to engage other stakeholders. So we engage the police, we engage public health, we engage NSWMA, and also the brigade, the fire brigade. That looks on the several things in respect to issuing the appropriate certificate. So the police comes under that particular legislation in that way, and under the Noise Abatement Act, the police also has an input. But as it says, that is a Noise Abatement Act, where the superintendent has the duty to issue or to not issue a permit under the Noise Abatement Act. I have my own particular interpretation of the legislation, which I am confident I am correcting when you look on even just the title of the act. But the use of it has gone a little beyond what was contemplated by the legislation. But in the dialogue that we have had over the many years with promoters and our commercial services manager and different persons who have sat in the capacity as mayor, chairman of the municipal corporation, we have established all the while a time frame where persons make their applications and etc., etc. And then they should be responded to in a timely fashion because they have other things that they have to do, particularly in respect to promotion of events and so forth. But what I'm getting from a wide cross-section of persons who are involved in the entertainment and promotion of events is that sometimes the response is late to them whilst they have already gone in full preparation mode because they have to prepare. And they have had, just in recent times, and I suspect it came under because of the SOE that was in place, that you had situations where persons were in preparation mode and then they were told that they must abandon the preparation. In that regard, I mean, obviously you have to make your assessment and deal with the thing. So you have to have sufficient latitude in that regard, especially when the SOE is in place. But what was troubling to quite a bit of persons is that whilst some were being told to no, they have to abort their event after being in preparation mode. That you found a situation that there were others that were allowed to move forward with their thing unhindered. And there are some, well, I shouldn't say some, there was one particular, there is a particular location that there have been some adverse comments that have been made about that location, but that location is still facilitated in conducting their activity. So it comes across in a little, that there is some amount of bias in how things are being allowed. I don't anticipate, and I'm not ascribing bias, but I'm just indicating what are the comments that are coming to me and asking how can we ensure that there is some better coordination. I believe persons can appreciate that in an environment in which, whether it is SOE that is taking place, and SOE is only implemented when there is a spike, or you make your appropriate assessment that this thing has to be either A, cancelled, or adjustments are made, and so forth. But the persons are just trying to find how can they come to some better harmony and how things can be better coordinated so they don't lose. The entertainment industry is an industry that reaches far and wide. So it's not just the promoter himself that may be making a return from his investment. Hopefully he makes a return. But it impacts the hairdresser who don't necessarily go to the entertainment event, but they are preparing people to go to the entertainment event. You have the caterers, you have other purveyors of products that are used at these events. You have down to the little peanut man is a beneficiary from the entertainment industry. And when you just either have a whole-scale lockdown or a lockdown that is, you can't see what I would say is the logic between one as against the other, which then persons jump up and say there is some prejudice and bias operating and put people in conflict with either the political representative or put people in conflict with the JCF when you have to take a particular action. I don't know how best we can either sit down with the corporation, sit down with the persons who are involved in this type of promotion and work out something that everybody operates on an even playing field, if I can say that. But it has been, as I said, concerns and comments that have been coming to me in recent times. So I don't know if you wish to address it, or, and as I said, going forward, how we can have that dialogue so that everybody is on the same page in what you are trying to achieve, what they are trying to achieve, and everybody can be happy. Thank you.
So, yes, Senator, that information is not new to us, and it has merit as the police commander for a growing city like St. James here, Montego Bay. A lot of things are happening. You know, I know in the future suggestions have been made. We should look at something like an entertainment zone, because really and truly entertainment aspect of things are very important. When we're having the enhanced security measures, it trumps everything else that we're actually doing, and persons understand, because we've had it for several periods. Sometimes there is error in communication, and I saw where in other parishes things were happening. 7 persons shot at events, other major things taking place and persons being injured. the safety brief from the intelligence department did recommend certain things. I won't ask of you publicly the specific location that you alluded to. We can have an outside conversation and then bring some further clarity. Some locations have what we would say are good security features. When I say good security features, indoor CCTV lighting, cameras, and the likelihood based on the arrangement that they have there, it's less likely that persons gathering there will have injuries or whatever. The history of the location, where is it geographically placed in comparison to where the gangs are. So it's a lot of dynamics that goes into making these what looks like simple decision. The overall thrust of it is public safety, keeping people alive, keeping them safe. A lot of times the responses that will come, we will have to see how we can, I think we should tidy up some of these archaic ways in which we do these applications, get them electronic, get people responding to them electronic. Somebody sends you a paper application and they come to you for a paper response. They could know in the touch of a button that based on what's happening, a generic response will tell you not to go ahead and do this investment at that time. It's a system that requires some overall workout to make it work. Now, security is always a little broader than just human security. We look at health risk and we see what COVID did and how the security part worked with it. We also see the importance of securing the entertainment sector, and you did break it down well to say all the different eco parts of what supports the entertainment industry. Outside of the enhanced security measures and the intelligence brief, you would realize that sometimes we're having 30, 40 major events on a weekend in St. James. So outside of that, we have a buzzing weekend. We also have St. James is a unique place. You step out of Flankers, you're on a highway. You step out of the township, you're in a tourist destination. You step out, so the uniqueness of locations will cause the determination of how it is policed and the permits around it. I think though that as we go forward, if we streamline a better process of communication with those persons who are in it. Most of the events, persons plan them annually. Now we don't know that a state emergency or there's going to be an upsurge in certain violent activities in a White House space in February of 2024. So if you have an annual event that falls in February of 2024 of every year, and in 2024 there's an upsurge, it will impact the event. We normally communicate with persons, asking them to allow us to contain and then move into their event. So I'll look a little further in how we can tidy this part up, and we see what measures we can put in place to reach out to everybody in the sector, get everybody comfortable. The entertainment sector plays their role in making this place safe. And from where you sit too, a recommendation is that we look at creating an entertainment zone for like a St. James. Nice space, proper security features, CCTV, permits for events to be conducted throughout. We are growing as a destination. The demand is there for it, as he mentioned, the entertainment part of it. And look at how the security feature can contend with what the people actually want. So that's my recommendation from the police department. We can have these events thrown all over the place, inside of the middle of some battle zones and places where everybody want to be going at each other. You create a gathering there, it's an opportunity you're creating for people to get at each other. So I think we should look at this zone as a future of the division of the Parish St. James, look at the measures that we can put in place to make this thing work. And we'll have an outside conversation
Yes.
on the private part of it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Senior Sue. I think Councillor Sinclair has made some salient points, and I think you have responded quite adequately, Senior Sue. But from the municipal corporation perspective, the concern that we have is sometimes the length of time that the police takes to respond to, for example, persons seeking a permit. So I think that's an area we'll have to look at, because as the councillor explained, people, they have to make their preparation, and so it's going to affect them when, on the spur of the moment, they are told that the event cannot be held. So that's really a concern, and we have to work on that. But I support the idea strongly of an entertainment zone, and that is something that we'll definitely look at. Thank you very much. Yes, sure. I'll now take the report from the Parish Development Committee.
Report from the PDs.
PDC, Parish Development Committee. Yeah.
Your Worship, councillors, heads of departments, other agencies, the media, good afternoon. The PDC report was circulated, but just to highlight some important points. The PDC was, for the month of June, from the Secretariat, we continue our oversight for the 3 divisions that we have been given oversight for. We have been tasked and working with Keladupa through the CDC to identify the main industry there to assist the citizens. We're in dialogue with the president of the Stonehenge CDC, who is interested in working with the PDC to have some training in parenting, youth development, etc. occur. For other community groups from the 3 divisions, we are in contact with Cornwall Courts, assisting them in the area of back to school, community activities, sports, etc. We have strategically chosen to work in all 3 DACs. We're in touch with Maroontown DAC, working with like Garland CDC, Flagstaff, Maroontown CDCs, in different community projects. And in Johns Hall, we are in touch with the Orange, Delphi, Johns Hall CDC, who have different projects that they are asking our assistance for. We also have requests from the Tucker CDC, from Ms. Lawrence, the CDC president, asking the PDC to assist them in recognizing 2 persons who rescued 2 children recently during some flood rains. And that will be given priority to in assisting them to award and recognize the service of those 2 persons who saved the lives of children. The PDC was recently very involved in the Canterbury development project. We are part of the launch. We participated in the trainings, site visits, and we'll be a part of that project. On behalf of the PDC, I participated in all 5 workshops with other members from the PDC board. We were awarded 5 certificates. And the training was very powerful, very impacting, and we'll truly, because what we realize, if this community really experience transformation, it can be replicated across our parish in other urban and rural areas. We're in touch with Councillor Wint from the Welcome All Division. We're supposed to be doing a parenting training there. From our own town, we have some persons to be graduated before the month ends. They were training first responders activity. We continue to do our work, and we appreciate the support we get from other agencies, from the municipal corporation, from other government agencies, more so like the party unit and other units of the Ministry of Labor, ART, NSTA, because they are assisting us to assist the youths who we identified working through the different CDCs. We are in touch with a number of CDCs across the parish, and we assist them, we lobby, we advocate, because to that we are committed. So we are doing this, and we continue to dialogue with different groups, with individuals in the different activities that they are doing to assist persons and community. Basically, this has been our report for the month of June.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Hines. Yes, I must say that we appreciate the work of the PDC as it continues in its oversight and advocacy. I also noticed that at the function over in Canterbury that PDC was awarded certificate. And so I just want to congratulate you, Mr. Hines, on the work that you have been doing in the PDC. Councillors, you have heard Mr. Hines' report. Do you have any question you would like to ask or any comment you would like to make? Okay, if there is none, thank you again, Mr. Hines.
Thank you,
and
too, sir.
please continue the good work.
Thanks.
Report from the St. James Fire Brigade.
Mr. Chairman, before Assistant Soup Allen provides the report from the Fire Brigade, I would like to just briefly introduce myself. I am Superintendent Gans. I'm the commanding officer acting for St. James Division. I am substantively divisional commander for Westmoreland. Since Mr. Doman's retirement last year, the position became vacant. I am one of the actors, and in short order, the position should be filled. I am anticipating before the end of this month that it should be filled. I am no stranger to the division. I would have worked here in 2013 as watch commander and operations officer. And I was also here last year, the early part of last year, as assistant commissioner in charge of this area. As time progresses and whatever the result is, then you may or may not see me in this capacity next meeting. Thank you very much. We'll have Assistant Soup Allen share the report.
All right. Thank you very much, Superintendent Gans. Yes. Yes, sir. You may go ahead.
Good morning, dear Mayor, Councillor, members of different stakeholders, the media. The St. James Division has 16 apparatus, 8 of which are now on action, and 8.
Oh, before you, could you just let us have your name and your position?
Fillmore Allen, Assistant Superintendent.
Assistant.
So we're saying 16 units, 8 are in action, and 8 off, and with effecting repairs. We have a staff of 210 firefighters, which includes emergency medical services, fire prevention, and suppression teams. During the month of June, the hydrant servicing was done. We inspected 10 hydrants, 5 were maintained and serviced, and 2 repaired. The fire and ambulances runs were 30 genuine, 10 malicious false alarm, 3 false alarm with good intent, and 24 special service, 6 motor vehicle accidents, which give us a total number of 73. And the total ambulance run was 37. The fire prevention activities, 310, which includes inspection of premises, 139, subdivision plan approved, 2, fire investigation, 4, fire drills, 22, lectures, 50, certificate of buildings, 33, safety monitor training, 4, seminar and special meeting, 45. And St. James Division will continue to support this parish and the council as required whenever we can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Allen. Councillors, questions for the fire brigade? Superintendent Gans, I notice under uniform staff that for senior superintendent that there's one clear vacancy. That's what we were referring to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Okay, so the fire brigade continues to do a very good job, and we at all times always appreciate the work of our firefighters. They are a very integral part of our community, and so we're happy to have them here. As usual, they're always here with us, and to say continue doing your good work. Good. LPAC.
Nil, Your Worship, no report was received.
When are we going to have a meeting?
Your Worship, I will speak to the chairman of the committee and the clerk so that I can give you that information.
Okay. When we resume in September, I'm sure by that time we should have that committee in action. I'm sure we should have it by that time. Resolutions arising from the minutes.
Your Worship, for the resolution for lands at Iron Shore, that is being dealt with the finance committee, by the finance committee, and so I'm saying this, since the finance committee is dealing with this resolution could be taken off the council minutes. Yeah, because it is being dealt with at the finance committee, which is a full committee of which the councillor is a member of that committee, and finance committee is dealing with it. For the resolution for Gloucester Avenue, we have received a response from the Ministry of Local Government, and they are saying the response is that consultation should be held with stakeholders on the proposed use of the property. I have asked if there is any consultation document. I was told no. Relocation of the remains, clearing of the site, and testing of the site residual pathogens, and all of that. They said we are to get something from the Ministry of Health, supporting document from external agencies such as Town and Country Planning Authority, Jamaica Fire Brigade, Public Health Department, Water Resources Authority, NEPA, and all those agencies. We are to get their support. So when we get those documents, so this has been forwarded to the superintendent for us to start working on these requirements.
I'm sure with that resolution, some of this information has been supplied already. I don't know why the ministry is asking for that now. I
Your
thought
Worship,
we
I
were
have not
far
got-
down the wicket.
Right, because I inquired and nothing was there. For the resolution regarding the renaming of the road to Gladstone Pop Lawrence Avenue, all the requirements by the ministry was supplied. They sent back to us for some corrections, which we did and sent back to them, so we're just waiting a response. For the civic numbers, again, we're waiting on the Ministry of Local Government. We have sent off the resolution. Same thing for the resolution calling on central government to allocate funds for the maintenance of the stadium, of sports facilities in St. James. Sorry, not the stadium. Sport facilities. We are awaiting a response. Same thing, we are awaiting response for the resolution requesting repairs to bridge on Howard Cook Boulevard, Montego Bay. We are awaiting that response. The resolution to define city limits, I'm going to ask Mr. Manning.
Where's Mr. Manning?
Okay, when he's back, he'll give the update on that resolution. For the select committee to deal with research and development, the deputy mayor, we are to have further dialogue to get that committee activated. For the training and development, for training for council to be trained in development and planning, my office reached out. We had gotten a response from Ministry of Local Government, which said that they had no issue with the training. And this response was sent in October 2022, where they said that they have no issues. Please be advised that the minister has given approval for councillors to be trained in development and planning. They also had said that kindly inform the ministry of the details associated with these trainings, to include the institution, organization to be engaged, as well as other pertinent information relevant to the training and all of that. So based on this response from the ministry, they are saying we are to organize the training. And this was sent from October 2022. So my office reached out to UTEC to find out if they had any course. The answer was no, but they are willing to design a short course to include development and planning. So my office will be in further dialogue to get that going so that the relevant information can be presented to meeting for approval. So resolution with keeping of the Animal Act, that remains the same. Resolution to establish entertainment zones in Montego Bay, in St. James, that was sent off and we await a response. Also, Councillor Sinclair, we had asked that some resolutions be taken off the minutes, but I'll give updates. So, the resolution for municipal police to prepare and execute and serve summons, that was one of them that was taken off. And from June 2017, a response was sent back to the council saying that the council can appoint municipal police officers to serve notices, because under the act it says that the local board of health, and so the council meeting as local board of health can, as long as the notices are based on the schedule that is in the act, that the local board of health, or let me read what was said. A reference is made to the caption matter and your letter dated March 10, 2017, which was received by the Legal Services Division on June 14, 2017. You have advised that you wish to appoint municipal police as authorized persons to prepare, execute, and serve notices under the Public Health Nuisance Regulations 1995. Based on paragraph 4 of the Public Health Regulation 1995, only a medical officer, public health inspector, and any other person authorized by the minister in writing or a local board may serve on the owner occupier of the premises a notice in writing in the form set out in the second schedule. Section 5 of the Public Health Act defines the local board of health as follows. There shall be established for the purposes of this act a local board of health in respect of each parish. The local board in respect of the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew shall be the Council of Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation as constituted under the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation Act, and in respect of other parishes, the parish council of that parish as constituted under the Parish Council Act. As you are aware, please listen, the Local Governance Act repealed the Kingston and St. Andrew Corporation Act and the Parish Councils Act, and further renamed parish councils as municipal corporations. Therefore, the municipal corporation, being the local board of health, may serve notices on owner or occupier of premises or on a person causing or permitting the nuisance. The Local Governance Act allows for local authorities to collaborate with municipal police to assist in the prevention of public nuisance. Since the Public Health Act and the regulations do not preclude municipal police from serving notices and allows the local board to prepare these notices, then the local board is able to utilize municipal police once notices are prepared by the local boards in accordance with the second schedule of said resolution.
That is a failure to understand what the resolution is about. So reading all of that is a failure to
the resolution is for the police, the municipal police to prepare, execute, and serve notices.
The municipal police cannot. That is what it was about. So we were asking for them to be authorized. So the municipal police, when they go there and detect the nuisance, they don't have to come and sit and wait for days and days until the local board of health. So it was a failure to understand. So reading all of that, I was read from Mr. Lee's day, 2017.
Well, what do we do with the resolution? Because okay, all right. So
because we dealt with it already, we responded to that.
No, well, I have not seen a response, and this has been coming on the minutes. So this has been coming on the minutes from 2017. And it is only off the minutes because I've asked for it to be taken off. As it relates to resolution to rename Springfield Primary, okay, you are aware of the response that was sent as it relates to Springfield renaming it into Sam Sharp. So one of the requirements is that community consultation should be had. When I inquired, there is nothing to prove that community consultation was had. And so that needs to be done so that a response can be sent back to the Ministry of Local Government and the Ministry of Education for that resolution to move forward. As it relates to the others, we await response from the Ministry of Local Government. So that is it as it relates to resolutions.
CEO, could you just go back to resolution 1463? Because I would like Mr. Manning to give some clarification on this. That's 1463. It's dealing with the cemetery out by Gloucester Avenue. Could you read what they're asking us for, CEO? So that's 1463. Just hold on, we hear what they. Could you just go back through that? Could you just read what they're asking us to do?
Okay.
1463.
1464 million, 63.
No, man, okay. That's the one that deals with the cemetery and Gloucester.
Yeah, man. Yes. Yes, Mayor, as it relates to the resolution to define city limits, I am pleased to inform the council that we have finally received the response from the National Environment and Planning Agency with giving the definition of the space for the said limit that we require to move forward, Chairman. It was just received yesterday, so we have it here. We can have it to be presented, Chairman, and going through to identify and have the map, so we can have the map displayed for everybody and circulated. So I can read the description if you want, or we can just have it circulated, whichever you choose, Chairman. But just to cap it, the letter dated July 13th, and it is attention redefining Montego Bay city limit. With reference to the caption matter resolution from the St. James Municipal Corporation received 22nd of September 2022, and a meeting held between the various meetings with the latest one held May 17, 2023. Kindly note the following as per discussions. The city limit boundary will enable the municipal corporation to effect certain changes under the Local Governance Act. The term urban core should not be used interchangeably with the term city limit, as in this case the city limit boundary and Montego Bay urban core are different. Kindly note that the amended boundary description is attached as agreed. Should the St. James Municipal Corporation require additional information, please contact the undersigned. And it is signed by Peter Knight, Chief Executive Officer, Government Town Planner.
So, do you have the boundary?
Yes, Chairman. And it says starting at the point where Harvey's Fishing Beach, a parcel boundary with valuation number and 031B6X08013 meets the North Coast Highway southerly across the North Coast Highway to where it meets Sugar Mill Road, southerly along the Sugar Mill Road to where it meets Charles Avenue, westerly along Charles Avenue to where it meets Dorchester Drive, and southwesterly along Dorchester Drive to where it meets a parcel boundary with valuation number 031B6Z06050 at lot 351 Iron Shore, southerly and thence westerly along the lot boundary to where it meets the proposed Montego Bay Perimeter Road, southerly and westerly along the proposed Montego Bay Perimeter Road to where it meets Pega Road, southerly along Pega Road to where it meets Fairfield to Point Road, westerly along the said road to where it meets Granville and Bellevue Road, easterly across Granville to Belfield
Okay.
Road.
Mr. Manning,
Yes, Chair.
in terms of kilometers, say in a northerly direction or westerly direction, is there a number?
It can be measured, Chair, but it is not in the description. It is more as where it is on the map and physically on ground. But in the description, it wouldn't give
So there's no
distance.
measurement, no, there's no distance.
No, it just gives the points where they
Oh, okay.
intersect. Yes.
But I guess we can calculate the distance, right?
Yes, you can calculate distance if you need to, Chairman.
Okay. All right. I think you probably need to do that. So when we come back for our next meeting.
No, Chairman, you wouldn't put the distance on it because if you once, according to the map that we have, it indicates exactly where those intersections will occur. So that
Many of the residents in that area. Launch of Emancipation Independence celebrations. The St. James Municipal Corporation, in collaboration with the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission, JCDC, will launch the 2023 Emancipation and Independence celebratory events at the corporation's chamber located on the 4th floor of the municipal building on Monday, July 17, 2023, commencing at 10 a.m. Both the municipal corporation and JDC continue to deepen their collaboration in making Jamaica 61 celebrations memorable. Consequent on the retirement of Mr. Gerald Lee, former CEO for the St. James Municipal Corporation, recommendation is hereby made for the removal of Mr. Gerald Lee as a director to the Montego Bay Arts Council and the appointment of Ms. Nadia Crosskill, Chief Executive Officer of the St. James Municipal Corporation, to serve as director. I'll take a motion.
So moved, Chairman.
Seconder. And the ayes of it?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Councillors of the St. James Municipal Corporation will go on recess, or if you want to call it a break, in the month of August 2023. It does not mean, however, that the municipal corporation will be closed. Business will be conducted as usual. So I'll just repeat that councillors for the St. James Municipal Corporation will go on recess in the month of August. I just want to make something very clear here. You know, there are a lot of benefits that is being provided by the government, and people are not aware. Many people are not aware. And I just want to bring to your attention a few of the benefits that are being provided. For example, there is social pension, and I want you to listen carefully, please, because I want you to tell those who are not here. And there is a social pension for persons who are 75 and older. So all we have to do is to identify those persons who are 75 and older. They need to have an ID, they need to have a TRN, and they need to have a birth certificate. And once they meet the criteria, then every 2 months they will be collecting $6,800. So those of you who know elderly persons in your local, in your communities, please speak to them and tell them the benefits that can be had. I must also say that there's medical assistance and what is called compassionate grant. And this is through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. So you go to the NIS office, right in Sam Sharp Square, Montego Bay. If you have your driver's license, voter's ID or Jamaican passport, and your TRN, all you need is a reference from a doctor and also a pro forma invoice outlining the cost of the procedure. And you will get help, medical assistance. So I just want persons to be aware of this. There are also housing repairs, compassionate requirement. Applicants, just your ID, your driver's license or voter's ID or Jamaican passport, TRN, proof of land tenure, receipt, tax receipt or land title, and permission letter from the owner must be witnessed by a justice of the peace, and a recommendation from the justice of the peace, and a pro forma invoice from a registered hardware. And once you have these, you can get house repairs. So these are some of the benefits that can be had. And you just need to get in touch with the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. Okay, so those were the mayor's announcement. Can I have a motion for the local board of health to sit?
So moved, Chairman.
Okay, application for license.
Yes, Your Worship. I have for beauty therapist, 24 new applications and 40 renewals. For beauty salon, 2 new and 7 renewal. For barbers, 1 new and 6 renewal and 4 trainee. And for butchers, we have 2 applications.
Okay. Motion?
So moved, Chairman.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Update from the St. James Health Department. Environmental health report.
Your Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Leroy Williams, other councillors, various agencies, the media, good afternoon. The report for the month of June from the St. James Public Health Services Environmental Health Unit. I will begin with vector control. So during the month of June, 9,900 premises were visited, 1,492 were positive. There were 40,592 containers that were found on these premises, and 3,700 of these containers were positive for mosquito breeding. Based on the premises inspected during the month, the Aedes index is 15%. However, no need to be alarmed at this because the parish has been seeing a downtrend in our Aedes index since the start of the year. We want to commend the temporary task worker program for this achievement because without the additional 36 new members of our vector control team, we would not be able to achieve such feat. There are about 10 core members on our team in vector control, and this task worker program really caused us to spread out in the parish. Now, this program came to an end on June 30 of this year. However, they're on a 2 weeks contract break, and they're expected to begin on the 24th of July. And this will go on to 6 months. Let me also speak about the focus over the 6 months. We are going to be targeting selected high-risk communities, and the task workers will be in these areas until the entire area has been surveyed and we have achieved a decline in the Aedes index in these communities. So we won't be seeing these officers being circulated all over the parishes. We're going to select communities that are high risk, and they will be placed there. We also, during the 6 months, we are going to be ramping up enforcement actions in terms of serving notices under the Public Health Nuisance Regulations of 1995. So we have seen where there are some breeding sites that can and should be eliminated by carrying out compliance action, enforcement actions. So we will be ramping up our activities in terms of serving of notices. Now, I just want to remind persons in the parish and elsewhere about uninspected meat that may go on the market for sale. Now, there are 2 regulations that govern the meat trade under the Public Health Act. You have the meat inspection regulation and the butcher's regulation. Butchers are those persons who are so licensed to carry out slaughter of animals for human consumption, and we want to encourage persons. I've seen where 2 applications were approved today. We want to encourage persons who are desirous of conducting the butcher trade to ensure that they are licensed. We're also imploring persons who may need to purchase meat for consumption that they ensure that wherever the meat is bought is from a licensed butcher. We have seen over the years of persons who are stealing animals, and these animals may very well go into the food trade. We also want to encourage our butchers as well to ensure that whomever they purchase their animals from for slaughter, that they can verify ownership of the animals that they slaughter. So, Your Worship, we want to reignite the need for a centralized slaughterhouse as well for the parish. One thing that the health department is grappling with at this moment is the great number of slaughterhouses that we have to contend every day in the parish. And this has been taken away from some of our duties. For example, in the Cambridge area, we have Monday to Friday, we have butchers who are slaughtering. So we want to encourage, again, the need for a centralized slaughterhouse. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Lewis. Let me ask, the temporary task workers, they are not working now?
They're on end of contract break,
End
2
of
weeks.
contract.
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so they start back in July, you said? In
July 24.
24th of July.
Yes.
Okay. And do you intend to increase the amount of workers come July?
All right.
In other words, do you have vacancy for more workers?
All right, not at this time, because we're trying to work out the budget. The current budget allows for 35 workers. The new proposed budget is for 65 persons. So in the coming months, we will be recruiting additional persons.
Okay, very well, yes. Okay. Councillors, questions for public health?
Yes, on the presentation made by the officer from the public health. I suppose when persons generally hear the term butcher, right? They probably think of somebody who kills, they call it cow and goat, right? But it is much wider than that. So the persons who are also involved in the slaying of chicken, poultry, are also butchers, right? So it's just that, I suppose, persons associate the term in a very limited way, but it is much wider. So probably you could just explain that so that persons know that all those persons who are living in these communities and raising chickens, and that is good, but they do it on a regular basis, that they also would have to be licensed according. Persons who operate in supermarkets and who does the carving of meat. So you call it? Carving of meat? Yeah. Cut it up for the persons who are purchasing it. They fall in the description too. That's correct? Huh? So I think you need to, yeah. You don't agree with me on that one. You don't agree with me on that one? All right. So probably you need to read from the legislation to see whether I am correct or whether you are correct. But it is something that I know that myself and our commercial service manager, we have looked at it, and I do believe that they are captured. So probably you need to look at it. It's a matter of education and so forth. All right. Well, the person shouldn't be doing that. You speak about a centralized location, because you said in the Cambridge area, for example, Monday to Friday, people are doing that type of activity. But can't you regulate it? Because you said that it puts a little strain on your human resources. Pardon me? Well, whatever. But you have areas that it is done, correct? Yes. Good. Now, it is not a situation, because there is some pre-slaughtering activity that should take place before you get to the actual, right? So can't it be, if you are having that situation internally, that it be regulated so that you know whether it's going to be done on a Monday, Wednesday, a Friday, or as the case may be? Wouldn't that address with some immediate effect the situation that you're experiencing? You indicated that you're experiencing.
All right, so let me just answer that last part, and then I'll go answer the others. All right, so what happened is that based on the number of animals that are slaughtered on a daily basis, or on a slaughter day, right, it would mean that we would have to take resources from out of the different health districts to conduct the inspection of these animals. And not only the number of animals, but the location of some of these areas. The roads are terrible, right? And it damages the vehicles and so forth. But that can be, right, that's a different case, all right? So what happened is that we do regularize the butchers. We have given them, or recommended through the medical officer of health, days of slaughter. But the challenge that we're having is that with the limited number of public health inspectors that we have in the parish, and the frequency at which the butchers, because I don't think we are able to say to them that they can only slaughter 10 animals per day, right? So if we have a centralized slaughterhouse, right?
And a point of order, Mr. Chairman. It's now 1 p.m. I'm moving a motion to suspend the standing orders to facilitate the remainder of this meeting.
Okay, yes, thank you. You may
All right.
continue.
So with a centralized slaughterhouse for the parish, it will be, and we have set days, at least we will have designated public health inspectors to conduct the inspections, rather than the one health district being pressured and not being able to do other duties.
Okay, so let me ask you, Ms. Lewis, how many satellite stations do we have now, approximately?
We have 18.
18, yeah. So
And we have twice the number of butchers.
yeah, okay.
And Councillor Sinclair, yes, we have over 35 or so butchers.
Yes.
All right. Councillor Sinclair spoke about poultry farmers, right? Yes, we do have persons who are slaughtering in their backyards. I know that RADA gives some assistance to these persons. So what we have been doing over the years is to capture these persons and train them in food handling. And some of these persons some have actually applied for butcher's license, but the issue is the slaughtering establishment that they have. Well, what we try to do is to encourage persons, so even though the structure or the establishment may not be, the classic slaughterhouse, we encourage those persons who we have captured from, rather had given to us the names and locations of these persons, that these persons contact the health department so that we can come in and do the poultry inspections. I just want to remind persons that the inspections are free of cost. So call in the public health inspector within 24 hours notice, and we will facilitate the inspections of your chickens and other animals for human consumption.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I will agree with you that we need a centralized place. We need an abattoir, and it would be ideal if we could establish one in the city. But we're having a problem. We have looked at that in the past, and one of the challenges that we come across is that the Water Commission would not want us to put the waste in their system. So we would have to look at one that may be out in the country area, and that would not be ideal. I think we would need a centralized abattoir. But it's really a challenge, I can tell you. All right, thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Lewis, for bringing us up to speed as to what is happening. Yes. Any further question for Ms. Lewis, or can we take the report from the MOH? Yes, MOH, you can.
Afternoon, Your Worship,
Afternoon.
councillors, other members of the municipal corporation, other agencies, the media. Again, good afternoon. I just want to start off by saying that today is Healthcare Workers Appreciation Day, and we would have been designated in terms of persons who non-uniform groups to wear purple or pink, and if you're a uniform group, then you'd wear a purple ribbon or a pink. As a matter of fact, the entire month is Healthcare Appreciation Month, but today is specifically Healthcare Appreciation Day, and of course, we want to extend just a big thank you to healthcare workers in general for the work that, I guess you say we, since I'm a healthcare worker, we've been doing, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. Certainly that was a major test for us. So we commend the team for the care that they've provided in helping to maintain the nation's health. And we are also grateful for the partnership we have received as well, so that we are able to carry out our duties. So we continue the work, but just some major things to highlight, and I think some of these are still issues that would have remained from our last meeting, primarily in terms of, we have come to the end of the flu season officially in end of May, but of course we still do have respiratory conditions, illnesses that persist throughout the course of the year. What we've been seeing in terms of, while we are not seeing an increase in numbers, and particularly in terms of COVID-19 numbers, and I think that may be due to the fact that we have decreased testing in terms of persons coming in for testing. But what we're seeing, and what remains over the past few months, is that we're still having, in terms of the causes of the respiratory illnesses, COVID-19 is still very high on the list in terms of predominant. And of course, we're seeing influenza, particularly influenza B as well as influenza A. So there are still viruses circulating, and we just need to remind persons just to be very, very vigilant where health is concerned. If you're not feeling well, if you're having any form of respiratory symptoms, stay home, mask wearing, and all of that in terms of protecting ourselves and protecting each other as well. So of course, while it is that COVID is no longer a public health emergency of international concern, we still do have to be vigilant, especially persons with chronic illnesses and so forth. So just a reminder where that is concerned. Another major health concern as well is the vector-borne illnesses. We spoke about that. Particularly for us, it's dengue. We know dengue is endemic. For the parish, we have not had any confirmed cases of dengue. In terms of reported, confirmed cases from those reported since the year has started. But of course, we know we always have to remain vigilant, particularly as we enter into the hurricane season. And I know in May into early June, we really did have a lot of rainfall, particularly. So we know there's increased breeding for mosquitoes, and we would have spoken in terms of what are some of the precautions that we need to take. But just to highlight that even in the dry periods, that the eggs of the Aedes mosquito are very, very resistant. They can last up to 2 years, even without water. So sometimes the eggs are there, and once it is that the rainy season starts again, then the breathing of the mosquitoes starts up. So of course, just the important things that we need to do in and around our environment. In talking about the rainy season, we recognize over the years, and even if we wanted to hide and say climate change is not real, certainly we are feeling it now. And we spoke about that at our last meeting, but just to reemphasize the importance of keeping ourselves cool in terms of the temperatures that we're seeing. Certainly the days are getting hotter, and as we go further into the summer, we anticipate that it will only get worse. In terms of heat-related illnesses, there certainly is a spectrum. It starts maybe as mild as just in terms of a heat rash, or we may go as extreme as a heat stroke, which is really then a medical emergency and life-threatening condition at that point. So what it is, of course, we don't get to that extreme just like that. So the important message that we need to look at now is in terms of prevention. So the aim, of course, is always to make sure that we keep hydrated, we keep cool, and we keep ourselves informed of what is happening and what the signs are. Particularly as we look at it in terms of heat-related illnesses or extremes of age or children or elderly are the populations that we are most concerned about. But no one is exempt from this, or athletes or younger persons who may exercise and stuff, especially in the middle of the day. Of course, that can worsen the condition as well. So we are all at risk, persons who work outdoors. So just a reminder in terms of the importance of keeping cool. We do have the benefits for us for living in Jamaica of many rivers and also the beach and cooling. But even so, as we look at the beach, of course, making sure that we keep hydrated. So importantly, loose clothing, always being aware of our surroundings, those who are in our care as well as we go through. Just a reminder again about our NCDs, the importance of screening, and as a ministry, we look towards a greater initiative, ramping up our initiative to increase screening for especially non-communicable diseases, high blood pressure, or diabetes, etc., and other diseases. We look at working with our population, increasing that, or catch-up/mop-up campaign for our children who would have missed their scheduled doses of vaccine continues until the 31st. We look particularly during the summer. We know that we have our school medicals that are done for children returning to school. So we use this opportunity to have those persons who are not adequately immunized, and to know that these vaccines are available, as well as our HPV vaccine. Outside of that, we continue our surveillance for diseases, both communicable and non-communicable diseases. And for the month of July, July 28 is World Hepatitis Day, and August 1 to 7 is World Breastfeeding Week. So those are the major highlights for today, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bailey Small. The good thing is that this information is being disseminated all over the parish of St. James. It's not only for us in this room. Okay, and I can say that I am supporting Health Care Appreciation Day. It is said that men are colorblind, but I think my shirt is purple. Right, so I'm supporting Healthcare Appreciation Day. Okay, good. All right, so thank you very much for that comprehensive report, Dr. Bailey Small. Councillors, any question for Dr. Bailey Small?
Doesn't appear that way.
Okay, well, it seems so, yeah. All right, so can I have a motion to resort to regular council? Good, thank you very much, Councillor. Municipal matters. CEO, municipal matters. There was no seconder for that motion a while ago. Motion was moved by. Yes. Okay, thank you.